Oh, I don't need the. Do I need a mic? No, I don't need a mic. No, I don't. I can't because I can't. I'm a man. I can only do one thing at once, and I've got two hands. It can come out right. Hang on to that. Okay. There you are. I will sit down sometimes because I get tired in my old age, and I've also done 20 kilometres today at the MWC. I did 21 kilometres yesterday, and the old feet are getting a bit sore. Now, the big event. We're all here for the big event. If you're not here for the MWC, put your hand up now. Okay, well you can go right now. Okay, because you won't understand any of this. Okay, and if you're the wife of somebody who's been to the MWC and you haven't been, most of this will go over your head immediately. Okay, but I'll try and do the best I can. Here, I've got to sit down already. Now, the reason I'm decked out neatly today with the jacket and the proper shirt is that last year I made a terrible mistake. I came along with a yellow pullover, or a jumper as we say in Australia, right? You did, it did, and mine host, Louis Hall, brought his home camera system along, which was placed about there at this height. And if you ever see the video, I have a tremendously big gut and rather obtrusive nether regions. So now I've got a proper camera crew and it's at this height, and if he gets a shot of my big stomach, I'll kill him. Actually, I did go on a diet all year to lose weight for this event. I have to be honest with you. I have to be honest with you. But then I decided to move to France for the winter, and that was a terrible mistake. If anyone's lived in Burgundy or even been to Burgundy, you'll know that it's only good for two things. Or maybe three. No, two things definitely. Food and wine. Of course. And they've taken their toll, I can tell you. Okay, here we go. The big event. What was the big thing that happened at this year's Mobile World Congress? Nothing. Actually, it's been one of the biggest anticlimaxes of all time. Except I can report to you, because I'm an expert at these matters, and I do spot counts of people passing me and running into me, and I estimate this year that there were probably 100,000 people there. And I know that because the waiting line at the train got to 25 minutes. It's never got that far. And if you went on the shuttle bus, it got caught in traffic. And when you got into a taxi, the local radio station, all the talk that was going on was, when will we get rid of these people that bugger up our system every year at Mobile World Congress? But let me remind you, Barcelona, and I know that many Spanish people speak English, but they don't understand Australian. We bring you 456 million euros a year in revenue. But that was last year. So I've calculated that this year it's at least 523 million euros, 175,216, and probably about 30 cents of revenue. It's massive, isn't it? So I think they should just put up with us. I suggest they build 2 new train lines, because 1 new train line won't be enough to the venue. They promised us last year they were going to build a tram from España to the venue, and I think the Green Party, the local Green Party, prevented them from doing that, because they had to cut down the only tree that was in Barcelona between España and the airport. But don't worry. And they have a local UKIP party. For those of you from the UK, they have a local UKIP party, and they're voting for recession, or secession, I think it's called. Might be recession, from Spain. So they might be lucky. And they don't like immigration as much as UKIP doesn't, so we may not be invited back next year. But they got the big names in. Now, I don't know whether you noticed, if you were watching all the preamble to this big event during the year, there wasn't much in the way of big-time speakers. And at the very last minute, a couple rose to the top, as cream does when you get milk. Remember old-time milk used to have cream at the top? Well, let's say those guys. And this year, at the very last minute, it was no less than Mark Zuckerberg. Again. Now, the sad part about Mark, and I look, I have a lot of empathy for the guy. He shafted his best mates. And okay, we'll forgive him for that, He's made the life of those twin Winkelhofer brothers a misery, you know. They've resorted to buying bitcoins, you know, as a lifestyle. And they're trying to corner that market because they obviously didn't corner the Facebook market. And Zuckerberg, I don't know how many billions is he worth at the last count. I mean, every day it goes up another billion just in interest. He wore the same T-shirt as he did last year. And I know it's the same T-shirt because there's a little hole, if you look at the videos, just under his armpit on this side, right? So he wore the same T-shirt. But when I saw him on Monday, he had the same T-shirt. On Sunday, he had the same T-shirt on. So he wore the same T-shirt 2 days running. So he doesn't like paying for laundry bills either. Now, this is a man that the IoT is made for. The Internet of Things is made for, and I'm going to come back to this because I think Mark Zuckerberg is probably going to be the biggest exponent of the Internet of Things in the world. And I'll explain why very shortly. But before I do, the other big name was the FCC Commissioner, Mr. Wheeler. Okay. Now, he is the guy that has probably destroyed half the telcos in the world over the next 10 years. But nobody realises that yet. He's now made the internet a utility, so that, I don't want to talk seriously because it's depressing stuff, but this net utility stuff is going to kill our business. And I don't want to go into all the details for you. I think he got a bit of a hostile reception today. Stefan, you were there. How was his presentation? Was it riveting, his presentation today?
It was very soundbite.
It was very soundbite. Yeah. So you got a good story out of it, which means it was a load of crap when a journalist tells you that. So I'm not sure what's going to happen, but let's worry about treating the internet as a utility isn't going to work. We don't want restrictions on the utility. This is what's happened in an industry that's run out of things to regulate. The FCC in America hasn't got anything to regulate anymore, so they thought, oh, let's look around. The internet, nobody's regulated that yet. Let's have a go at the internet and see if we can get that under our claws. The ITU tried it in Geneva, but nobody listens to them anymore. But for some reason, Mr. Obama listened to Mr. Wheeler and it got through. But it hasn't got through Congress yet, and we don't know. They might lose the election by the time it gets there, and the other guys who have tea parties all over the place might just, you know, eliminate it altogether. So that's a quick history of what's going on in the industry. I think the biggest thing this year was the signs at the event. Now, I'm going to come back to you because it's audience participation this year at the event. Now, I can't help myself. I don't use much technology. I've got an iPad, I've got an iPhone, but I also have a watch, which I'll come to very shortly. In fact, I'm probably the only person in the room that has a real watch. It's got a thing that goes like this inside it. Now, I went round and I was amazed at some of the fantastic signs, and once I get the technology sorted out, I'll share some of these signs with you. This is, don't forget that this is the one place in the world where our industry highlights all the best things it can offer. The really, really best things. No, Mara, I'm not available tonight. What are you doing? Oh, it doesn't matter, it's another one. Okay. I just got invited to a better party. I missed the drinks at the Island stand. Have you ever been to the drinks at the Island stand? Yeah, the Irish, yeah, it goes till tomorrow morning, that one. Or until the Guinness runs out. Usually both together. Now, let me share some. I can't show you these, but you've got to trust me. This is one sign that I saw, and it said, the power to be ... What the hell does that mean? The power to be. The power to be what? I looked around the stand, and there's a girl with earmuffs on and a hat and a woolly hat, and she's saying the power to be. Here's another one. Tomorrow never waits. How many marketing people in the room? Now come on, admit you're a marketing person, put your hand up. Yeah, there's one marketing person. Yeah, there's two marketing people. Cerillion doesn't have something stupid like that, tomorrow never waits. You go to their stand, it says, there's no, well, that's true. But you go to their stand, it says billing, CRM, you know, the stuff that they do. These guys talk about stuff that nobody understands. Now it gets worse. Not only tomorrow never waits, which I took 3 photos of because I didn't believe it. Oh, I forgot about the photo of that girl on the stand, but that's another one. I'll come back to that. What's this one say? Oh, exploring the brave new world. There's a company called Cerillion, exploring the brave new world of what? There's a selfie taken somewhere else. It just got worse and worse this week with the signs. What else have I got? Oh, here's a beauty. This is from a company called Leaf, or is that eLife? It depends which country you come from. And it says, their catchphrase on all their signage is, enjoy my life. I don't know who the hell you are. How am I going to enjoy your life when I can't even enjoy mine? What is that enjoy my life business? It gets ridiculous. Oh, here's one, InvenSense. InvenSense. Who's that company? Anybody from InvenSense? Can you tell me what sensing everything means? I swear to you, that's the signage on their thing. If I was 3 miles away and saw that, I'd rush over because I'd like to know what sensing everything was. I have difficulty sensing being alive some mornings. Oh, and also, they have a product called the eLife S7, and the big sign there is slim to perfection. How do you slim to... Ladies, how do you know when you've slimmed to perfection? Did your husband say, oh, you're just right now, stop slimming? Or does he turn around and say, you're still a fat ass, keep going? What does this machine do to you? What is it? I don't understand. Oh, and here's another company. This is very original. This company is connecting your digital world. What digital world? I don't even know I had one. This was a digit when I was a young fella. How am I going to connect it to anything? I don't understand what that's all about, this digital world. And of course, on the British stand, who's British in the room? Come on, admit it. You. Now, did anybody go to the British trade stand? They got it right in one. Everywhere on their stand, there are only 3 words. Technology is great. That's fantastic. And underneath it's got Britain, but it's underneath the chair, so you have to look down to see that it's technology is great, Britain. And the French have got, don't believe anything the British say on their stand. Now, Doro, who knows Doro, the company called Doro? Fantastic company, beautiful stand, it's all in green and white. You know, in marketing terms, green is a top-notch colour to use for marketing if you want to attract weirdos. Yeah, naturist. And theirs says low battery. Theirs says ageless innovation. How can you have ageless innovation? I mean, the whole term innovation is something new and interesting. If it's ageless, it's probably too late. So you can see why I was confused, but it gets better. EMS had a very big stand. Anybody see the EMS stand? I don't even know what EMS is. However, it says the smartphone partner. And I'm not sure if it's a case that goes with my smartphone, or it's a pocket I put it in, or it's a charger, but it's my smartphone partner. It gets worse. Asus, now they're a big company, aren't they? They're Taiwanese, so they have very good marketing usually. Yeah. They are in search of incredible. How could you be in search of incredible? What does that mean? And the best one of the... Sorry? That was a Pixar film. Is that what it was? How do you find time to see movies, Tanner? And the other one is, and I've been telling everybody, you work your fingers to the bone. Okay, and here's the company that we've all heard of, and it was in Hall 1 with all the big stands, a company called Red Bend. Does anybody know Red Bend? Their catchphrase is catalysing change. How do you catalyse change? I don't understand all of this. Anyway, so they're the highlights of the show, walking around the show. But for those of you that really got excited this year, it was about the Internet of Things, or as I call it, the Internet of Silly Things. And there are many of them. I wrote some time ago about this fantastic product. It was a Bluetooth toothbrush. Now I thought it was a joke, right? But they actually have a stand here. Now the reason there's so many more people at this show is because all these weirdo companies that are selling IoT devices all bought stands. And they all brought 10 people they had to bring 10 people to explain exactly what the stuff does, because it doesn't make sense otherwise, right? This toothbrush delivers expert direction with professional guidance. I'm not sure whether it jumps off the bath sink and into your mouth and starts cleaning your teeth, but users can partner with their dental professional. I think that's a dentist where I come from, a dental professional. It's like a parking professional. That's a parking cop where I come from, right? So this is a dental professional. Through the enhanced professional guidance feature that provides customized care, patients can share their brushing data. It gets worse. With their dental professional ahead of their visit to discuss improvement areas. So the guy's going to find out what you're doing with your toothbrush, and then he's going to tell you what you're doing wrong when you go to see him or her. It makes a lot of sense. Of course, in addition to programming extra brushing time for specific zones, their dental professional can also provide specific product recommendations, all to ensure that patient can remember their advice outside the office. So this was written by another Taiwanese marketing person because it doesn't actually make a lot of sense. So here we have a toothbrush that will tell you how to brush your teeth. But the biggest fear about this Bluetooth toothbrush is it's sending messages to the toothpaste company to say you've used it, you've gone through a whole tube, because it's measuring how much you're putting on each serving, right? So at the end of the toothpaste tube, and you know how toothpaste tubes work, the first 50% of the toothbrush goes in the first couple of days, maybe a week. The last 10% lasts about 3.5 months. So I don't know how this is going to work. You know what it's like when you get a new tube, you go. John Tanner goes because he likes the smell of it. But now they're going to. It's terrible. It gets worse. It gets worse. Now, if I can get back to this. If you think about smart metering, about 5 years ago, they talked about smart metering being the saving grace for the telecoms and the utilities industry, because they would measure how much electricity we're using in the house, and they would be able to turn on the power generation to cope with it. And they rolled out millions and millions of smart meters all around the world. That was the first Internet of Things that we heard about. And you know how successful that's been? It's been hopeless. Nothing has happened. Has anyone rung you up and said, Mr. Hall, your wife is washing the dishes at 10 o'clock in the morning when it's peak rate, we'll give it to you cheaper if she does it at midnight? And you said she doesn't do anything at midnight. I know, but I'm talking about the washing, the dishwashing at the moment, right? So, that's what they wanted to do with it. That was the whole idea. The utility companies were going to sell you better electricity prices. Has anybody got a better electricity price since the advent of smart meters? Has anybody got a smart meter? No? You have. In Australia they've got them. And how well do they work in Australia? No good. No good at all, you see? And in France, where I live, if you want a smart meter, what a smart meter is instead of the guy knocking on your door every 3 months to read the meter, there's a little metal thing on the outside where he puts the meter up to and it reads the meter. That's called a smart meter. So the guy still has to come around, but if you're not home, and if you want a really smart meter, if you want that smart meter, it costs you 130 euros for the pleasure of the guy not having to knock on your door. And if you see the guy that knocks on our door, it's worth 130. It's worth 130. He's not a good-looking bloke. And he suffers from that French malady, which is bathing issues. I don't know what. However, our postal lady turned up the other day very quietly. You could hear her coming a mile away years ago, or the week ago. She's a very lovely lady, but the car was very noisy. And she turned up, knocked on the door, and I'm going, I never heard her coming today. She's got an electric car. They've got electric cars. But they're not used to them. A couple of them, they jumped out of the car to deliver the post, and the electric cars kept going. So I think they've got a bit of fine-tuning to do. But they're Renaults, so that could explain a lot there. And of course, with smart metering, we've got, and the IoT of things, we've got a new thing to worry about. It's called hacking. Now, where did that term come from? Tanner, you're a real technophobe, phoebe, or something. Technophile, that's the word I'm thinking of. What's hacking? Hacking to me used to be something you did with an ice pick. Why do they call people hacking. They're breaking into people's code. Is that the reason?
Yeah, that's a good summary.
So, why would anyone want to hack into my smart meter? I ask you that question. Because in the US, they've discovered that 300 smart meters were hacked. And I suspect it was the opposition electricity company boosting up the electricity meterage so that people would swap to another company. So we're going to find a lot of that happening with meters.